Take a moment and picture what it feels like to already possess everything you've ever wanted. Not longing for it, not chasing it, not pleading for it, simply having it. Notice the shift when I hope becomes it's already so. Something in you loosens. Your shoulders drop. Your breathing slows. Your heart stops pleading and starts trusting. That quiet inner certainty is the thing most people spend a lifetime hunting for out in the world, when it was never out there to begin with. You've been conditioned to respond to whatever you see in front of you. A thin bank balance triggers worry. A missing opportunity triggers hesitation. Silence from others triggers self-doubt. In short, you let external conditions define your identity, but that's backwards. It lets the reflection dictate the source. The world you experience is only an echo, a delayed readout of the inner states you've already agreed to. To get a new echo, you have to become someone new on the inside first. Acting as if you already have everything isn't about performing a role or repeating hollow affirmations while dread sits in your chest. It's about settling so fully into the feeling of fulfillment that your thoughts, reactions, and expectations shift on their own. You stop viewing life through the lens of lack and start viewing it through the lens of possession. Think about how you act towards something you already own. You don't chase it, you don't obsess over it, you don't lie awake wondering if it'll arrive. There's a steadiness to it, quiet confidence rather than urgency. You don't refresh your inbox every 5 minutes for something that's already sitting in your hand. That's the posture of the fulfilled state. Most people try to manifest while inwardly shouting, "Where is it? Why hasn't it come? When will this finally happen?" But that question alone reveals they're still rooted in not having, and the world faithfully reflects that back. The underlying law doesn't respond to words, it responds to your state of being. Feel poor, and you'll keep manufacturing evidence of poverty. Feel unloved, and you'll notice every hint of rejection. Feel blessed, and circumstances start reshaping themselves to match that assumption. Stop getting, start being. Ask yourself, who would I be if everything were already resolved? If money flowed freely, how would I carry myself? If love felt secure, how would I speak? If success were a given, how would I think? Notice how different that version of you feels. Calmer, more dignified, more patient. That version doesn't beg the world for anything. The practice of acting as if starts in imagination. And imagination isn't idle fantasy. It's the workshop where reality gets built. Every invention, every structure, every relationship existed there before it existed anywhere else. When you picture something vividly and accept it as real, you're placing a seed in the one place creation actually begins: consciousness. The outer world is simply the harvest that follows. Each day, pull your attention away from what's lacking and step into the scene of fulfillment. Picture the congratulations, feel the handshake, hear the words, "I'm proud of you." See the number you want on your account balance. Feel your hands on the wheel of the car you want. Feel the ring, the keys, the calm in your chest. Not someday, now. Feeling is the language of creation. Here's the essential part. Feel it as real. Feeling is what actually communicates with your subconscious. Thoughts are just pictures, but feelings are instructions. When you feel something with real intensity, you plant it in the subconscious, and the subconscious has no option but to produce a matching reality. It doesn't debate you, it doesn't evaluate you, it simply executes. Feel wealthy and your thinking shifts. You stop counting every penny, stop bracing for disaster, and opportunities start showing up because your mind is finally open to them. Feel loved and you stop clinging or chasing. People are drawn toward completeness, not neediness. Feel successful, and bold action becomes automatic, which life then rewards. Acting as if isn't about fooling anyone else, it's about convincing yourself. People often object, "How can I feel rich when my wallet is empty?" That question is the whole problem in a sentence. You're letting the reflection dictate the original. You're waiting for the world to move first. But the process runs the other way. You assume first. You need the courage to feel abundant before anything on the outside agrees with you. That's what faith actually is, not blind belief in something far away, but loyalty to an inner state regardless of appearances. The world might insist nothing has changed. You can smile through that because you know the seed is already in the ground, and every seed needs time before it breaks the surface. While you wait, you don't wait anxiously. You live as if it's already resolved. You wake up grateful. You speak with confidence. You make decisions like someone life is already backing. Instead of, I'll be happy once this happens, you flip it, I am happy, and that's why it will happen. That reversal carries real power. Catch yourself in the old pattern. Start noticing your everyday reactions. If a small bill rattles you, ask, would someone with everything react this way? If jealousy shows up, ask, would someone who knows they're already blessed feel threatened? If you're rushing or panicking, ask, would someone who trusts life behave like this? Then shift, gently, not forcefully, by remembering who you've chosen to be. This extends to your self-talk. The conversations you have in your own head shape your reality more than almost any outward action. If you keep rehearsing failure internally, you're practicing the wrong script. Start hearing praise in your imagination. Start telling yourself, things always work out for me. Let it become familiar, ordinary, because what feels normal eventually becomes real. At first, this will feel like pretending, and that's fine. Every new identity feels foreign in the beginning. Your first steps were wobbly. Your handwriting shook the first time you tried it. Repetition made it effortless. The same applies here. Stay loyal to the new state, and eventually it will feel more real than the old one ever did. Something remarkable happens once you genuinely embody having everything. You stop needing everything. A deep contentment surfaces, and you realize the feeling you were chasing was available the whole time. Paradoxically, once you release the grip, things start moving toward you with ease. Because life responds to wholeness. Need repels. Fulfillment attracts. So move through your day like someone who belongs. Not arrogant, just assured. Sit like you belong in the room. Speak like your words carry weight. Dream without limits. Treat yourself the way you treat someone who's already succeeded. Care for your body. Keep your space in order. Handle small tasks well. These are quiet signals to your subconscious. I already have it all, and the world has to agree. You're not conjuring something from nothing. You're simply selecting a state that already exists among infinite possibilities. Wealth, love, health, and success already exist. Acting as if is just choosing which version of life you're stepping into. Tonight, when you go to bed, skip the replay of the day's problems. Instead, enter the scene of your desire fulfilled, fall asleep, feeling accomplished, grateful, complete. Let that impression settle in overnight. Mornings will feel lighter, and gradually, without any struggle, your circumstances will begin shifting in ways you couldn't have forced. This is the essence of the practice. Stop asking, stop chasing, stop doubting. Assume, feel, become, and then, quietly and inevitably, life reorganizes itself around the person you've decided to be. The world becomes a stage, not an obstacle. As you keep living from this sense of inner completeness, the world stops feeling like something to fight and starts feeling like a stage that responds to your script. Situations that once felt intimidating lose their grip. Conversations flow more easily. Decisions feel clearer. This isn't forced confidence, it's confidence naturally expressed, because the version of you living from fulfillment doesn't question their own worth or future. Look at your old habits of thought. Years of identifying with limitation built automatic phrases, I can't afford that, I'm not ready. People like me don't get chances like that. These sound harmless, but each one is a quiet instruction to your subconscious to keep things exactly as they are. Acting as if you have everything means refusing to speak from that old identity. Catch the sentence mid-thought and swap in a new assumption. Instead of, I can't afford it, try, money reaches me in expected and unexpected ways. Instead of, this is too hard, try, things always work out for me. Instead of, why is nothing happening, try, everything is unfolding perfectly behind the scenes. You're not lying to yourself. You're choosing which story to live inside of, since all experience flows from assumption. Your mind doesn't just observe reality, it shapes it. Whatever you consistently accept as true eventually hardens into fact. Assume struggle, and life obliges. Assume ease, and life rearranges to match. The underlying law is neutral. It delivers exactly what you claim as yours. Acting as if is simply claiming the outcome before the proof shows up. There will be moments the old patterns try to pull you back. A late payment, a rejection, a sudden setback. The temptation is to say, see, it's not working. But this is exactly where your discipline matters. Treat setbacks as passing clouds, not final verdicts. A cloud overhead doesn't mean the sun vanished. Stay with your assumption. Tell yourself this too is moving you toward what you want. Persistence is what separates daydreaming from actual creation. Anyone can feel good for 5 minutes. Can you hold steady for weeks even when nothing outside is confirming it yet? That quiet persistence is where the real transformation happens, embodying abundance. Watch how someone who genuinely feels abundant behaves, generous, willing to share, unafraid that giving will leave them short. If you want to act as if you have everything, start practicing generosity now. Freely offer compliments, help, and ideas. Even small gestures tell your subconscious you live in surplus rather than scarcity, and life mirrors that signal back, amplified. Notice your relationship with time too. Feeling short on it makes you rush, stress, and clockwatch. Someone who feels they have everything moves with calm assurance, trusting that what belongs to them can't miss them. So slow down, breathe, do one thing at a time with care. That's not laziness, that's alignment. You're teaching your nervous system that life is safe. Posture matters as well. Stand tall, lift your head, hold eye contact. Small physical signals that communicate confidence back to your own brain, since body and mind constantly inform each other. This practice isn't just mental, it's embodied. Walk like your future self. Dress like your future self. Arrange your surroundings like your future self, letting everything quietly reinforce, I already live well. This isn't about materialism. Having everything is about identity, not objects. It's about feeling chosen, supported, capable, loved. Outer things are just expressions of an inner state. Chase symbols without shifting the state underneath, and you'll feel hollow even after getting them. Shift the state first, and the symbols follow naturally, and you'll actually enjoy them when they arrive. Gratitude as an anchor. Let gratitude be the anchor, not gratitude for something that might come, but gratitude for what already belongs to you in consciousness. Each morning, feel thankful as if your desires had already come true. Saying thank you in advance implies possession. You only thank someone for something you believe you've already received. Giving thanks ahead of time tells your subconscious the matter is settled. Over time, you'll start noticing coincidences, small doors opening, stray ideas turning into opportunities, the right people appearing at the right moment. It might look like luck, but it's simply your circumstances rearranging to match your new state. Once you change internally, you begin noticing paths that were always there but invisible to your old mindset. The deepest shift isn't external though, it's the quiet inside you. Anxiety fades, comparison fades, the sense of being behind fades. You feel complete, and inspired action starts flowing from that completeness rather than being forced. You don't grind at work, you feel pulled toward it. You don't chase relationships, You draw them in. You don't beg for recognition. It arrives on its own. You're not manipulating the world, you're transforming yourself, and since the world is only a reflection, it has to change along with you. Each night, return to the inner scene of fulfillment. Add detail, feel the textures and sounds. Let it feel ordinary enough that your mind files it as memory rather than fantasy. Sleep is when the subconscious absorbs impressions most readily, so carry that certainty into rest. When doubt creeps in, don't fight it head on. Just gently redirect your attention back to the end result, the way you turn a dial. The more you practice, the more automatic it becomes, until acting as if stops being an effort and simply becomes how you live, living from identity, not circumstance. Notice your very first thought each morning. For most people, it's worry. What needs fixing today? What could go wrong? Someone living from fulfillment wakes differently, with a soft, quiet expectation that something good is about to happen. Practice starting there. Before checking your phone, let gratitude spread through your chest as if the day has already gone well. Let your first inner sentence be, "Everything is working out for me today." This sets the tone before the world has a chance to speak first. You decide who you are before circumstances try to label you. Once you claim that first moment, you start claiming others. You stop reacting automatically and start choosing deliberately. Harsh words don't collapse you, because someone who has everything isn't threatened by a passing mood. Sudden changes don't panic you, because you trust things are still arranging in your favor. Losses don't trigger desperate clinging, because you trust something better is already on its way. Stability stops depending on conditions and starts coming from identity. And identity is everything. You don't get what you want, you get what you believe you are. Believe you're unlucky, and you'll find proof everywhere. Believe you're overlooked, and you'll experience neglect. But quietly assume I am always chosen, doors open for me, people value me, resources support me, love surrounds me. And life has no real choice but to organize itself around that. Rehearse this identity throughout your day. Not loudly, just as a quiet undertone while you walk, work, and talk with others. Even waiting changes its texture. It used to feel heavy, like something missing. Now it feels closer to watching a delivery arrive for something already yours. The difference between waiting with doubt and waiting with certainty. Think of how a child waits for a birthday present they already know is on its way, no doubt. No hourly pestering, just relaxed anticipation. That's the spirit to cultivate. Treat your desires as promises rather than possibilities. And life starts to feel playful instead of heavy. Problems start looking like rearrangements rather than threats. Something clears out to make room for something better. Because someone living from wholeness can't truly lose anything. Every shift is redirection. Raising your standards without effort. This mindset also builds self-respect. You stop tolerating environments that shrink you, stop joking at your own expense, stop settling for less than what matches how you actually feel inside. Not out of demand, but because accepting less starts to feel unnatural. Oddly, other people respond to that shift too, listening more closely and offering more freely. Not because you forced it, but because your energy communicates your own sense of worth, and the world tends to agree with however you see yourself. So treat yourself as valuable now. Speak kindly to yourself now. Celebrate small wins as they happen instead of waiting for success to arrive first, since self-respect is usually the seed success grows from, not the reward for it. When doubt whispers, and it will, don't read it as failure. Just smile and return to the state, the way you'd correct your balance while learning to ride a bike. Wobbling isn't proof you can't ride, it's part of learning. Each time you return to your chosen identity, it strengthens. Each time you decline the old story, its grip loosens. Eventually, the boundary between imagination and reality starts to blur. Scenes you once only rehearsed inwardly start appearing outwardly with startling accuracy. Conversations play out nearly word for word. Opportunities you pictured show up unprompted. Places you imagined visiting become part of ordinary life. You start to sense imagination was never separate from reality. It was reality waiting its turn. This realization brings quiet wonder rather than arrogance. You start guarding your inner world more carefully, not out of fear, but out of respect for your own creative influence. You stop entertaining thoughts that diminish you, stop replaying old wounds, stop telling the story of why things never work, because you understand every thought is a seed, and you've decided to plant only what you actually want to harvest. Dwelling in completeness. Day after day, you keep walking through the world wearing this quiet sense of completeness, speaking, choosing, and imagining from the endpoint where everything is already resolved. You trust that what you've accepted internally must eventually show up externally in its own timing. That trust becomes an unshakable calm, a smile that appears for no obvious reason, a sense of being supported by something larger than yourself. You're not chasing a final destination or trying to prove anything to anyone. You're simply dwelling in the state of already having, already being, already possessing the life that once felt far away. New desires arise from that steadiness, playfully, and you step into those too, the same way. Life keeps unfolding as a reflection of the consciousness you're choosing, expanding and opening, always shaping itself around who you decide to be. Always offering more evidence that the moment you truly live as though you have everything begins drifting toward you without strain, as if it had been waiting for you to finally accept that it was already yours. Not earned through struggle, but claimed through identity. This understanding dissolves the old habit of straining for things, because straining secretly admits distance. It says the thing is over there and you're over here, and that imagined gap is exactly what delays it. When you act as if there's no distance, when you feel the wish already fulfilled, that gap collapses and there's nothing left to cross. You start to notice how much of your old effort was unnecessary, the overthinking, the forcing, the constant checking for results. All of it came from mistrust, from a belief that life had to be pushed. Someone living from fulfillment doesn't fight the current, they move with it. They still take inspired action, but it feels natural, almost obvious, like turning a door handle that was already unlocked. It's a soft way of living that's still remarkably powerful. You're no longer wrestling circumstances, you're quietly directing them from within. Others might just call it luck or good timing, never quite seeing that you simply rewrote the internal script and the outer events had to follow. Stop postponing joy. Notice how often happiness gets postponed. I'll relax once the money arrives. I'll feel confident once I'm approved. I'll enjoy life once things are fixed. That habit keeps joy permanently in the future. Acting as if you have everything means allowing satisfaction now, before anything visibly changes, and, strangely, that satisfaction is exactly what allows change to happen, because happiness isn't the result of your circumstances, it's the cause of better ones. Feeling good without a specific reason declares that nothing is missing, and when nothing feels missing internally, nothing can stay missing externally for long. Life fills in more reasons to match the feeling you've already chosen. So, enjoy the small things. A cup of tea, a walk, sunlight on the floor. These aren't trivial. They're quiet confirmations of abundance, signals to your subconscious that life is already good, and more good grows from that message. You might eventually look back and barely recognize your old self, the one who worried constantly, watched for signs, felt behind everyone else. Nothing was wrong with that version of you, they were simply dressed in the wrong identity. Now that identity has changed, and the world responds accordingly, even your goals start to feel different. No longer desperate proof of your worth, but expressions of a joy you already have. Creating from fullness rather than emptiness has a completely different energy. Magnetic, effortless, enjoyable. Receiving becomes natural. Trust in yourself deepens. Decisions come faster. Intuition gets louder because fear no longer drowns it out. And once you feel secure, you can actually hear that quiet inner guidance that was always speaking, nudging you toward the right moves at the right times. You move out of survival mode and into receiving mode. Receiving is its own skill, saying yes to help, to opportunities, to compliments, instead of deflecting them out of unworthiness. Good things arriving stops being a surprise and starts feeling expected. Forgiveness comes more naturally too. You stop holding on to grudges or replaying old failures because someone living from fulfillment doesn't drag yesterday's baggage into today. You release people, mistakes, and outdated stories, and that lightness lets you move faster than before. The more fully you embody this state, the more small, ordinary miracles start showing up. Bills covered at just the right moment, ideas that turn into income, unexpected kindness from strangers, lost things resurfacing, health and relationships improving. Not because you forced the world into submission, but because you stopped contradicting your own good with constant doubt and finally let life be kind to you. None of this requires strain, no exhausting rituals, no fighting your own mind. You simply keep returning, gently, to the feeling of already being supported, the way you'd return home after wandering off. Every time you notice yourself slipping into lack, you quietly step back into fullness. No drama, just a small correction. Until feeling supported becomes your default, and positive expectation stops feeling like effort and starts feeling like common sense. A continuous unfolding. From here, life starts to feel like an ongoing exchange between you and the unseen. You assume, and circumstances respond. You imagine, and things arrange themselves. You feel grateful, and reasons for gratitude multiply. Cause and effect blending so seamlessly that it's hard to tell which one started the sequence. You keep walking forward, carrying that quiet certainty, continuing to think, feel, and live from the end point, understanding that having was always a matter of being. And being is a choice you renew with every breath, every thought, every small assumption that what you want isn't arriving someday, but is present and unfolding right now. You stop measuring progress by dramatic external change and start noticing the subtler internal shifts. A mood that stays steady when plans fall apart, walking into new rooms without intimidation, speaking your thoughts without second-guessing them. These inner changes are the real transformation. The outer ones are just delayed confirmation. A certain quiet develops inside you too. Less mental noise, less arguing with reality, less narrating every small problem out loud, not from suppression, but because it simply feels unnecessary once you trust things are resolving in your favor. Your breath even slows and deepens, as if your body has finally understood it's safe, and a relaxed body sends its own message to the subconscious. I am secure. That security is the emotional signature of someone who feels they already have everything. Scarcity feels tight, abundance feels open. So even your breathing becomes part of the practice. When tension shows up, pause, breathe, and remember who you're choosing to be. As this state settles in, you start treating your imagination with more respect, no longer letting it rehearse worst-case scenarios. Instead, you deliberately picture smooth outcomes, good conversations, and things working out, using imagination as a creative tool rather than a fear generator. In idle moments, instead of scrolling or worrying, you return inward to visit the fulfilled version of your life so often that it starts to feel like memory rather than daydream. And once something feels remembered rather than imagined, your mind stops resisting it. People around you may notice the shift before you fully register it yourself, commenting that you seem calmer or more magnetic. Nothing external changed first. You simply stopped arguing for your own limitations and quietly decided to live as though things were already resolved. From that decision, your tone softened, your posture straightened, your choices sharpened, and your opportunities multiplied without force. Trusting your own timeline. This mindset also means trusting your own path so completely that other people's success stops feeling like a threat. There's no competition in abundance. Someone else's win becomes evidence that more is possible for everyone, including you. That openness lets you receive far more than a guarded heart ever could. Even setbacks change meaning. What once felt like failure now reads as feedback, a redirection rather than a verdict. You adjust and keep moving, still anchored in the assumption that things are ultimately working in your favor. That resilience keeps your momentum alive long after others might quit from discouragement, simply because you never doubted the outcome to begin with. Sometimes you'll notice gratitude arising for no particular reason, just quiet appreciation for being alive. That's the clearest sign you're living from fullness, nothing missing, nothing needing to be added. From that completeness, every new desire becomes an expansion of joy rather than a fix for pain. So the practice continues day after day, not chasing, not forcing, simply choosing again to occupy the identity of someone who already has everything. Thinking from it, speaking from it, moving from it, resting inside it, until the line between inner state and outer life dissolves and your circumstances become a natural reflection of that inner sense of wealth. New dreams keep forming, and you welcome them the same way as already yours, carrying that quiet certainty into every room and every decision, not as someone striving to become blessed, but as someone who simply remembered that they always were. Closing thought. None of this is a trick to force the world into compliance or a burst of motivation that fades by tomorrow. It's a shift in identity, a return to who you already are. The real mistake was ever believing you were separate from what you wanted. You were never meant to chase life, you were meant to embody it. The success, the love, the freedom, the security you've been after isn't something you earn through struggle, it's something you allow through assumption. The moment one day becomes, it's already mine, everything changes. The moment begging becomes being, reality starts rearranging around your certainty. Acting as if you have everything isn't pretending. It's remembering that your inner state is the cause and the world is only the effect. That feelings shape facts and life mirrors back whatever you believe about yourself. So carry yourself differently. Walk like nothing is missing. Speak like your words matter. Decide like the outcome is secure. Rest like you're already supported. Let your imagination show you the resolution, not the struggle. What you want isn't somewhere ahead of you, it's already within you, waiting to be accepted. In the end, you don't get what you want, you get what you assume you already are.